Welcome back to part 2 of how to build your massage practice. And this one is what I like to call the do's and the don'ts. So first of all, and this comes from experience, don't ever give somebody a free massage because they say they can't afford it. You will never get rid of them. Try your best to never cut the session short. Check the clock. Clients' time should start when your hands first touch their body. And come on, I'm sure everybody knows this. Don't eat stinky food right before a client comes in, and don't wear heavy perfume. Everybody has to eat lunch. That's why I highly recommend keeping either mouthwash and or a toothbrush at your office and use them. Absolutely call each new client the day after you have worked with them just to check in and see how they're doing. If needed, give them some more aftercare instructions. And this is also an opportunity to reschedule them if they haven't already done that. This is definitely one that is going to be on a case-by-case basis, and it's definitely a personal opinion of you, the massage therapist. I have discovered that it's best to keep opinions to myself when it comes to touchy or controversial subjects. So for example, during an election year, keep your political beliefs to yourself. If a client is trying to drag you in to a conversation or a debate, I like to say, yeah, I don't really get into that kind of stuff very much. Religion, vaccinations, anything that's controversial, I highly recommend you keep your opinions to yourself. Always remember that this is the client's time, not yours. Your massage room is not the proper forum for you to speak your mind about things. There's an old saying, it's the client's dime and it's the client's time. Be a chameleon. And what I mean by that is be able to adapt very quickly to different personality types, because in one day you could be working on all kinds of different personalities. And you as the therapist need to be able to transition from one client to the next and adapt to make them feel comfortable. And a hard no is never gossip about other clients. When someone's on your table, or if you're even just emailing or talking to them, never gossip about other people in your clientele. It speaks volumes about you as a person and your strength of character. And it also makes the client wonder what the hell you're saying about them behind their back. So be careful. When a client comes out of a massage, try not to be a pushy salesman. You have just worked to relax this client. The last thing that they want to do is stand in front of your desk and have a sales pitch thrown in their face. I like to apply the KISS method to this, the same method I talked about in my previous video. Keep it simple, silly. You want to offer them water, give them very short and simple aftercare instructions, and ask them if they want to reschedule, and that's it. A great way to stay on pace during the day and not make your clients feel rushed or have to wait in the waiting room for very long is to schedule a minimum of 30 minutes between each client. This gives you time to check out the client, clean your room, get the table ready for the next client, maybe even have some lunch or grab some water. And when your next person comes in, they won't have to sit and wait for you. And a side note to this tip is if you're running late for work, of course you're human, it's gonna happen, but if it happens on a regular basis and your client arrives to your office before you, don't come in a hectic, rushed, sort of, I just blew in the door kind of a way. It makes the client feel like they're putting you out. Whenever you take continuing education or a webinar or go to a seminar or a class, definitely talk about that with your clients. They like to know that you're staying current in your industry. So a fun one that I highly recommend is to get regular massages yourself from different therapists. It allows you to kind of stay on top of your game. You can weed out the things that don't feel good and keep the ones that do. And it's just a great reminder of how good it feels to be touched in a safe, loving way. And if you go too long between massages, you really forget when you're actually giving massage how great, what a great service you're giving this person. So keep yourself refreshed in that area. It's not only good for your mind and body and soul, but it's also a great, I like to call it research. It's great research for your own business. One of the things that I set as a goal was having what we call standing appointment clients. Standing clients are worth their weight in gold, and you want to treat these clients with the utmost care. You want to make sure that they are in your schedule well in advance so nobody else takes their spot. And you want to try to get them to become standing clients by saying something along the lines of, if this is a great time that works for you, I should put you in my schedule for several visits at this time so that you have a standing appointment with me and nobody else will take this spot. If you're going to have any price increases or you're going to be leaving town for a while and going on vacation, you should post these things in your office so that your clients can have plenty of notice. I definitely recommend 1 month in advance. There's nothing like a client coming in with a set amount of money expecting to pay you only to find out that you've raised your prices and they had no notice. I definitely found it useful to keep a wait list. And when you get busy enough, you'll know what I mean. When you can't get somebody in because you're booked, write their name and number down, preferably a cell number, or their email, whatever works best for you. If you get a cancellation or a no-show, immediately go to your wait list. Try to fill that hole in your day. And the client will definitely appreciate the fact that you followed through with that. Everybody's different on this next one. I picked this one up from my chiropractor and the way she ran her business. We had what we call a 3-strike out policy. And what that meant is that we would allow people to no-show 2 times. If it happened a 3rd time, then we would charge them. This was also posted on our social media and in our office so that we didn't blindside people with that. This is one that I wished I had done a lot earlier on in my career. I placed a suggestion box in the waiting room. And I also had on my website a place where people could leave suggestions. Now, the most important part of this is that you want them to be able to do it anonymously because clients are much more honest when they know that they're anonymous. You will get some very interesting feedback, both negative and positive, but it will allow you to maybe make some adjustments to the way you do things and how you operate. And you don't want to make a client feel bad by letting them know that you know it came from them. And people will always kind of tell you one thing to your face. I mean, we're all humans, it's human nature. But when they know that they're anonymous, they might say something completely different. Thank you for returning for part 2 of how to build your massage business, especially if you are shy or an introvert. These things I learned through trial and error. A lot of it was on-the-job training or picking up things from other massage therapists. Always remember that your clients have no way of knowing how good your expertise really is. They don't know if your massage is the best or most thorough or your motion is the most creative and effective, but they can tell if the experience and the relationship with you is a good one. They can tell if your staff is courteous and helpful. They can also tell if they feel better after they have an encounter with you. They remember if their phone calls have been returned, and promises were kept. They can sense if the overall experience with your service is good or bad, and it usually has to do with the small and insignificant things. It's the little details of the massage, the office setup, the atmosphere, how the transaction went. You are selling a relationship, and it is based on emotional factors, not always logical thinking. So you should give this area of your practice just as much attention as you do in obtaining your professional skills to begin with. So basically, it's a combination of your expertise along with all of the little small details combined that determine the feeling that the clients have after they do business with you. Thanks for listening.